Hey guys, welcome to Duel Bros. I'm actually just sitting here. This is College Football Saturday, the second week, and I'm here with my brother once again in his Alabama get up.
And I'm with my brother who has not a scrap on him that suggests that he is in any way a college football fan.
Dude, I'm just one of those that doesn't like to wear jerseys, and
Mm.
I'm telling you, man. Speaking of which, I mean everything would be backwards anyway. What's up with that?
It's not backwards, not on my screen.
Oh, okay. Well, good. So I guess we're it's just me. So I'm just
Mine's
a backwards kind of
backwards.
guy. Yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, hey guys, welcome to the video here. Sorry we have been away for a little while. Thanks to my brother. No, he's actually recovered from just a little surgery, nothing major, but he's back in the mix now. So
I
we're
got a
ready to get.
cybernetic arm. Cat's out of the bag.
It's amazing. That is amazing. So, just really quick, I thought we would just touch briefly on the first week of college football, and then we'll very quickly get into what's going on in the games today. And actually, I'm watching Oklahoma and UCLA because there's just some boring SEC play right now. But this is
Yeah,
actually, I'm
the
probably going to turn it.
the Mississippi State Kansas State game was interesting for a bit, but not so
Very
much
short
anymore.
time. Yeah, exactly. Man, Morehead's he's actually somebody I'm watching this season. That's going to be crazy. I think they got the right coach for that job. I'm actually surprised that they landed him. But just really quick, every team in the SEC won last week except for my team, Tennessee Vols. Um, but with that being said, most teams played some sleepers, so it's not really that big of a deal. I think Tennessee had a pretty good performance. As the game went on, I just think they were overmatched. I think that there are some issues that they can overcome. I was really happy though with the offensive line after the first quarter. I've seen a lot of fans complaining this week and not happy with the production that Tennessee gave on both sides of the ball, especially on that offensive line and on the defensive side of the ball. But you know what? I was actually pretty happy, especially after hearing some of Jeremy Pruitt's comments. What do you think? I love to hear
Did
an outsider's perspective on Tennessee.
did he muse on the merits or of asparagus? Was that his comments?
No,
I
not
didn't
this
hear
last
him.
week. No,
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, obviously they've got a lot of work in front of them. The question to me is really how they continue to develop. If in past we've seen UT where it looks like they've got some forward momentum, and then things don't really gel. What you want to see is continuous progress, and I don't know. We'll see. It's really early in the season, so it's hard to tell.
Will Greer is a really tough first week matchup for any team. That guy is lightning. Dude has an amazing arm. He's crazy accurate. So, like I said, I thought we did a pretty decent job. I think that we needed to capitalize in some areas, like in the red zone. We had a couple of misses there, and well, I know one miss in particular, and we had to go for it on fourth down to score one of our touchdowns. So, would like to see some of that cleaned up. But I think we're going to see a lot of progress over the next few weeks. Florida's the next big test for us.
When do you
So
got you guys get Florida next week?
I think we get them in the fourth week of the season.
Gotcha.
So I think we have two, just smaller schools that we're playing before them, and then we jump into the SEC play. So with Florida's actually playing today against Kentucky, so they're actually going ahead and jumping right into their SEC schedule. Should be interesting to watch that game and see if Florida is as good as what they produced in week one. So I think they'll have a little bit better of a test against Kentucky.
Yeah. What do you think about the Georgia South Carolina game?
You know what? I watched both teams last week, and there wasn't a whole lot that I could say about it because they played some sleepers. But I will say
Yeah.
this: I said it in video one. Debo Samuel is the real deal, and I think that if South Carolina can match Georgia's intensity on offense, I think it's going to be one heck of a game. Um,
Yeah.
Personally,
And
I think that Georgia wins that game, but I don't think that they win it in convincing fashion or blowout fashion. I think that it's going to be a very tight knit fourth quarter game.
yeah, and you and I had talked about I guess there's a lot of hype and expectations that you have to try to live up to when you get somebody like DeAndre Swift that comes on the scene. People were talking about him like he was going to be the second coming,
Like me.
and that first week he was all right,
Yeah.
um, but definitely he's definitely not a Nick Chubb yet. So
Well, look at the test. I mean, some guys will actually raise their standard, raise their game to the competition.
that's
So
fair, and it is the
yeah,
first week. But and I do think that with Kirby Smart, you're not going to see talent squandered like we've seen in past. Um, we're also talking about a comparison of Kirby Smart versus Mark Richt, and I don't think there's a good comparison there to be
no, not
made.
at all, not at all.
So I, it'll be interesting. I think
Yeah.
South Carolina has enough talent on their roster that you may see Georgia kind of struggle a little bit with things early. I think you'll. I mean, my guess is just like my random throw a dart at a dartboard guess, given how early we are in the season. But looking at least on paper at the talent margin, my guess is you'll probably see them kind of play close in the first half, and I think Georgia kind of pulls away in the second. I just think they're a deeper team talent-wise, and I think honestly that they're better coached. I know. I know a lot of people keep talking about Will Muschamp like things have been improving, they're going to continue to improve. But let's look at it realistically. How many ranked teams has Will Muschamp beaten? I I think maybe I don't know if it's just like top 10 ranked, but I heard a surprising statistic thrown out that he had just beaten one ranked team. That may be just top 10. I can't think off the top of my head which is correct, but regardless, his track record, at least against ranked teams, is not stellar.
Well, we know his struggles at Florida, and they were always on the offensive side of the ball. So he's got the weapons on the offensive side of the ball now. So, I think this is a telling season for Will Muschamp. He could be, though, a very underrated coach. And, if he competes for the SEC this year, the SEC East, it'll definitely change the narrative there.
See, underrated to me is when you talk about folks like Mullen. It's folks that pull out wins that they shouldn't pull out, or at least make them extraordinarily competitive. I
Well,
just
wouldn't you say today is that kind of game?
if they manage to deliver on the goods, but
Yeah.
um, we'll see. Calling Will Muschamp underrated at this point in time is a little bit difficult for me to acknowledge at this point in time. But we'll see. I mean, like I said, it's early in the season, so who knows?
Really quick, I want to add a little something. Just a little alert. Could happen, might not happen,
Uh-oh.
but keep this in mind. If South Carolina comes out with a ton of energy and they jump up on Georgia, and sorry, my camera's moving because my laptop is in my lap, but
You
if
literalist.
I know, right? If they jump up on Georgia early, keep an eye on Fromm and the situation with him. Because this could be one of those games where Georgia gets down and you see Fields come in. and take over the starting job for Georgia.
Hmm.
This is one of those games where something like that could happen. Now, Fromm controls the narrative. He is doing a good job throughout the game. He's keeping his team in the game. Then I don't see that happening. But, and I go back to last year, and you think about Alabama and the championship game and what happened with them, right? They got down. What they do? They took their guy out and they put their new quarterback in to us. So that's something you definitely need to watch for in this game. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I just think it's the depth as Georgia is going to be the big deciding factor. If South Carolina comes out with a lot of energy, that's great, but they're going to have to score some decent points early in the game. I think to make a run at it. Where is I forget where it's being played. Is it being
It's at
played?
South Carolina.
Okay.
That's a
I
big
mean,
one.
that's a plus.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So,
I think that's part of the reason why South Carolina has had the attention this week that it's had is because it is in South Carolina. So um, should be interesting.
yeah.
So what are some other games you're looking at? I know Texas A&M and Clemson is a big one that
You know, I don't know. Again, that's another one of those that people circle, I think largely because it's Jimbo Fisher. And like I don't know yet. Like it's people are acting like Texas A&M is going to stick it to them, but I mean, man, this is Clemson. Clemson has been
Ooh.
loaded the last few years and is
I haven't heard anyone say that Texas A&M was going to
I
stick it to
I
them.
I think there's been a lot of talk that it's a potential upset game, and
It could be
I just I
because
don't
it's at
know.
Texas A&M.
Well, it is. It is in part because it's at Texas A&M and M and the whole thing with the 12th man. You know, great. But there's plenty of places these teams play. It's not like Clemson hasn't played in a loud stadium before. You know,
Well,
so
yeah.
uh, when you've played in the national championship game, saying that you're going to be rattled by Texas A&M's crowd noise, that's it's kind of dubious to me.
Yep.
I think they're getting a lot of hype because it's Jimbo Fisher, but you know, again, Texas A&M uh, is not as loaded in talent as Clemson is.
I don't know.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I don't see that being a big upset.
I
I
don't
don't
see
think
them
that one's
winning
going to
for
happen.
that defensive line, man. I'm sorry, is ridiculous. I
Yeah.
don't. I think every team is going to struggle against Clemson this year.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no
Yep.
doubt. They're absolutely obscenely loaded at talent.
Yep.
You can say what you like about Dabo Sweeney, and I know there's a lot of Alabama fans that kind of go one way or the other about Dabo Sweeney, but there's no
You
denying.
mean Alabama's next head coach, right?
We'll see. Let's hope that's far far in the future. But I think if that were to ever happen, we could stand to be a lot worse off than somebody like Dabo. But you know, the truth of the matter is, you can't deny the success the guy has had. I mean,
Yeah.
he has really put Clemson in a great position on a year to year basis, and you can't say that it's really due to anybody but Dabo Sweeney and his staff. So,
Oh, I
um,
think he's amazing.
yeah, there's it's hard for me to naysay what he's done with that program.
Yeah, I don't see how anyone could naysay with him. So, I mean, he's taken a program that historically has not been, top five, and I'll tell you one thing: he's really changed that dynamic, even in terms of recruiting in the Southeast. It's made an impact on Tennessee as well. So, um, no, Clemson's the real deal. By the way, just an update: Mississippi State did win their game, 31-10 against Kansas State. So, and that was at Kansas State.
Yeah, Nick Fitzgerald's a good quarterback. I mean, he's one of those sort of full package quarterbacks like a Dak Prescott, or it's hard to compare him with a Tebow or a Cam Newton, but he is the sort of quarterback that you can kind of put the game on his shoulders, and um, he's gonna do a good job with it. So
Yep. So real quick, let's I figure what we'll do is maybe get back on here later and actually talk, about the results and what happened today. But just really quick, let's go ahead and maybe pick our teams and who we think are gonna win in the SEC this week.
Okay, well, I picked my team.
No. I mean
Oh.
every. Oh my lord. Well, I hope you pick your team.
Yeah,
We got
if they don't deliver today,
Arkansas
then
State. Is that right?
yeah, if we don't deliver against Arkansas State, something's really wrong.
Yeah.
Although that's one of those games that if Hertz doesn't get the primary amount of gameplay, I would be shocked. Them risking Tua, given how productive he was in that first week. I suspect you'll see him start, but they'll probably take him out after the first quarter unless something goes really wrong.
Yep.
I'm interested to see Najee Harris get a little bit more play time in this one, but we'll see. Waddle, by the way, last week was by and far the biggest impression that was made on me. That guy, it's really early to make this kind of comparison, but he really reminds me of a Palmer or maybe a Javier Arenas in terms of kick returns. That guy is explosive and dynamic, and it's really kind of exciting to see a returner like that.
Yep.
We haven't seen one in that category in a while, so kind of excited to see what he does in weeks upcoming.
Who's your first big test against in the SEC? Is it Ole Miss?
I mean, maybe, yeah. Ole Miss had a lot of points that they scored, but they also had quite a few points scored against them. So,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't want to write off Ole Miss because we've
Have given
struggled
y'all
against. They've
Yeah.
taken it to us a few times, and for whatever reason, they get emotionally charged about that game, and it ends up being a bigger test than it probably should be. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and take my first pick of the day, and I'm predicting that Mississippi State beats Kansas State 31-10.
Well, okay, safe pick, right? Nice.
Pretty amazing.
Nice.
Now,
So with the magic of the internet, you're going to make it seem like that
that's right.
hasn't happened yet.
So I'll post this like I did it this morning exactly. Why don't we go ahead and start with the big games? Start with Georgia and South Carolina. Which pick?
Georgia and South Carolina. I say Georgia. You want me to pick a score?
Yeah, pick a score.
Let's go with 38-14.
Ooh. Okay. I like the 38 score, though I'm going to go with I'm going to have to go 31-20.
You think they're going to score that many? Well, I mean, I guess it's only one additional touchdown, but still.
Yeah. 31-20. Next one on the board here is Kentucky and Florida.
Oh, gosh, I have trouble with that one. I'm gonna say
It's at the Swamp, FYI.
Yeah, I know. I'll say 28-10, Florida.
I'm gonna say Florida. Man, they put up some points last week, and I'm gonna go a little bit higher score. I'm gonna go 35-27. I think Kentucky will stay in the game.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think Kentucky will stay in the game, but I think Florida pulls it out in the end.
Well, let's see. First week, CMU. They only scored 35 against CMU. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep. The another one to pick from would be.
By the way, are we even going to bother with ones like the Auburn, Alabama State, or okay?
No.
Thank you, because
there's only a few here because there's no point in that. But
some of these is like 112-0.
Exactly. No, Clemson and Texas A&M.
Oh man. See, I do think Texas is going to score on them. I'll, I don't know that Clemson team though. I just don't know that A&M's got the answer to stop them. I'm gonna go with 42-21.
Yeah, that's actually kind of like that. I was wanting to go 41-17. Um, Defense is just going to be too much for Texas A&M. That's my prediction. I think they'll keep it close in the first half, and I think that Clemson beats them in the end. So interesting. There's one other game that could be interesting. Maybe, maybe not. Arkansas and Colorado State.
I honestly have zero sense of Arkansas right now. Um,
Shame on
let's
you.
see. I confess I didn't even really pay attention to the EIU game. Well, they scored 55 points, but it is EIU, and they they also had 20 points scored on them. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd say I'm gonna go with Colorado State is not doing well. Um, I'm gonna go with 21-10 Arkansas.
21-10. I'm thinking Arkansas could put up more points than that. I'm going to say 31-14.
Let me look at because I didn't look at Colorado State's. You know what? I'm gonna revise that. I'm definitely gonna revise that because they got obliterated in these other games. So what did you pick?
I think I said 31-14.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the 10 for Colorado State, but I'm gonna say 38-10.
Cool, cool. All right, well, guys, that's it for now. I think we basically just wanted to get on and say hello and kind of talk a little bit about the games before they get started. We'll be back with you and do a little wrap up after the action today to see where things actually fell. So, thank you so much for checking us out, and thank you, Sean, for wearing your obnoxious Alabama jersey
You're
and
welcome. It's a
gracing
service.
us with your presence, I guess. So yeah, guys, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Later.